I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, everybody got to look over the meeting on the consent agenda. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Belt, seconded by Miller. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Next up, schedule events. Mark Ekman, Executive Director, Council Bluffs Convention and Visitor Bureau. Update from the Potawatomi Tourism.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
You want me to just go ahead and?
You can do it.
Go ahead, Mayor.
No, well, Mark had asked me to kind of give a little, since I've been chairman of this
Okay.
committee for the last 16 years, I guess, to kind of kick it off and make some introductions and give you guys a little history
Okay.
of this committee was formed. And if you'll open your folders, and I'm just going to kind of go through this. Oh, you don't have your folders yet? But even before 2008, and maybe Supervisor Wickman remembers this, Bob Munt from the Council Bluffs Chamber, where the CVB was housed at the time, came in and talked to Tim and I in 2001 or 2, wanting to form a coalition sorts, wanting money from the supervisors. And of course, Tim slaps his head and says, gosh, we can't afford that. Do you remember that, Tim?
No.
No. So anyway, so we did nothing for several years until finally, I think Cindy Thompson from the conservation kind of got the ball rolling, and then we formed that committee in 2008. And we meet every other month, just kind of go through the finances and what we're going to do in the future. And we have a lot of partners, and we're lucky in Pot County to have all these good partners. We've got the Golden Hills RC&D. Lance Brisbois is here representing Golden Hills. WIDA and has always been involved. Kristen wasn't able to make the meeting this morning. And Pot County Conservation is a partner. You guys, the Board of Supervisors, help fund it. I don't know why he's got me, the county auditor, in there. I suppose just because we have to do take care of some of the funding pieces. And now we've got Craig here has joined us, and that'll be a good addition to our group. All the rural communities are involved, and we've got, I'd like to get more, but what we've got so far, Ruby Bentley from Macedonia has always been involved, and Gail Strickland from Oakland. And it would be nice to get more of those small communities involved in our effort, but they're busy too. So for the past 16 years, I think we've been doing a good job of promoting Potawatomi County and the City of Council Bluffs. And from that, I will turn it over to Mark, I think. Well, let me go ahead and make some other introductions. Mark Ekman is the president of the CVB. Emma Schwaller is in charge of marketing and social media. And I already introduced Lance and Craig. We're the only ones. Of course, now we've got Jeff Jorgensen is new to the committee. And I don't know, we got to put some bridle on that guy. He's ready to go. And Brian, who represents the northwest part of the county, is there giving us all the history of Mount Crescent and all and the hills. So, go ahead, Mark.
Sure, and I also want to acknowledge Scott Belt's contributions over the year. He attended many a meeting and been very supportive as a board member, so thank you, Scott, for your service.
Thank you.
We'll segue into the accomplishments, and I'm going to turn to Craig to talk a little bit about the museum videos. It was a collaborative project that got not only the committee involved, but the CVB as well as the Community Foundation for Western Iowa. So Craig.
Yeah, what a great rewarding experience for me to. This was before my time with Potawatomi County. I was asked to participate in this as a freelance producer to go out to the different museums in Potawatomi County and gather footage and try to encapsulate the environment of each museum to try to help promote those different locations throughout our county. Like I said, every museum there has a unique feel to it. And so as we gathered over 4,000 clips of footage inside those locations, we married it with music that we felt like kind of helped tell the story of the location. And so I think we collected footage for probably, 8 months, roughly. One was event specific. That's the Karstens 1880 Farmstead. They have an annual event that kind of we wanted to wait and launch all of them all at the same time. And so once we completed that final location, we were able to push them out. Gave them to the CVB and Waterway staff to promote on social media, and from the data that they had given us, they saw a good return on that. I will say, obviously this is big for tourism, but also for our locals to really advocate to go into those locations. I got a chance to meet a lot of people that were passionate about their museums. And, one of the common themes was trying to get school trips, school field trips to groups to go into those locations more often. And so we're hoping with a little bit of exposure, just these 2-minute highlights of these locations that we can help spark some of that interest. So.
Good.
You may notice that there's a couple of museums that are not included. These particular videos were captured for those museums that didn't have an existing video. So for instance, the Dodge House has its own video. And so we weren't trying to replicate or duplicate something that already existed, but for these 10 facilities, they didn't have a piece like this that could help promote them. And it was prompted in no small part to the Iowa Museum Association. They were planning on having their October 2021 conference here, and because of the pandemic, it went virtual. So while they weren't here in person to be able to go to these museums, they saw a virtual experience vis-a-vis Craig's videos that he was able to produce, and they were very well produced, and we're very satisfied with what we were able to accomplish with that. And that kind of takes us to the next slide, which is about brochures and the inspirational guide. Lance?
Yeah, so you should have all these in your packet. These are in hotels and display racks throughout the metro area. So people coming to the College World Series, Berkshire Hathaway Days, etc., are probably seeing these in their hotels. First one I'll talk about is the big guide. So this is kind of typically what you think of when you see a travel guide. It has information about all the attractions, parks. It has hotel information, dining, shopping. So if you're coming to Council Bluffs or Pot County, anything that you might want to find is in this pretty much. And this is updated every year. It's kind of cool. They have a lot of great photos and a lot of user-generated photos. So people, check in on Instagram or whatever, and then those photos are used in here. So it's really like what someone might experience in Pot County. Let's see. The trails, so Iowa kind of self-designated itself as the world capital of trails a few years back. So Pot County went with that theme and is calling themselves the trails capital of Iowa. So that includes not only traditional recreational trails like biking, hiking, but other trails like historic trails, and there's some different themed routes like we got the, Stranger Things, wine trail, burgers and beer. So all this information is on the website too, but some of those are just driving routes where you can go from restaurant to restaurant, but then it does also include the hiking, biking trails and the water trail. And then we have the water trail brochure, which was just updated last year. So West Nish in Potawatomi County is designated as a state water trail by the DNR. It was the first one and it's still the only one in the southwestern part of the state.
that is state designated. So from Avoca to Macedonia, each of the communities has a river access. This has a map. It talks about, where restrooms are, water, restaurants, etc. And then it talks about the experience that visitors will have, what kind of wildlife they might see. And then information about safety and just kind of good etiquette for paddling on the river. The Stars and Bronze Trail, so each of the 14 communities in the county has the Bronze Eagles. So those are in here, as well as the Veterans Plaza, Public Safety and First Responders Plaza, and the Deputy Burbridge Memorial in Council Bluffs, and then the Freedom Rock in Oakland. On the waterway, so it's kind of a condensed version of the bigger guide, but just some of the main highlights in Council Bluffs and Potawatomi County, tourist destinations, parks, anything else that tourists are probably most interested in seeing.
All right, moving to the next slide. Just a couple of examples of ads that we have placed as a committee in the annual, semi-annual Iowa Travel Guide. On the left-hand side, you're gonna see the 2022-2023 Fall and Winter Edition has a half-page ad promoting Mount Crescent appropriately enough. And then in the next edition for 2023 Spring and Summer, that particular ad is promoting the West Nishnabotna Water Trail. So a couple of things where we really tried to get that message out to a statewide audience and beyond, and allows us to hopefully drive traffic to those attractions and other things going on in Potawatomi County. Going on to the next slide, I'm gonna ask Emma to talk about social media.
Yeah, so a lot of the work that we do to promote the county is through digital means. So we've got a really awesome website and Facebook page that we use to let people know about the awesome events that are going on in our communities and different opportunities for recreation or dining, different hotel information. So on our Facebook, one of the big things that we do every year, we've got a little over 7,000 Facebook followers. So that's really a great audience that we have captive. And we do 3 big giveaways every year on our Facebook, which is the most exciting thing on our page every year. So we always give away 2 kayaks to promote the River Water Trail. We ask people to just enter on Facebook, and then we randomly select people. A really fun giveaway that promotes, people are excited to grab their kayak, go check out the water trail, go check out Lake Manawa. And then this year, we started a new giveaway, and we gave away a gift card to Extreme Wheels to promote the Wabash Trace. So we gave away a $500 gift card on social media for that to promote, get on your bike and check out all the wonderful trails that we have in our county. And then there's a screenshot there that kind of shows how we post the giveaways on social media. So it's always a really fun time. We get a lot of people to enter, and it's something that people look forward to every year. And then looking forward, through our social media channels, we will be working to promote in the spring and the fall. We got a grant from the Iowa Tourism Office for $10,000, and then we're collaborating with the Council of CVB to do some more online promotions of the fun things to do in the spring and fall in the county. And then on the next slide, we talk a little bit more about the website itself. waterwayia.com is the URL. Back in 2019, this website won the Outstanding Website of the Year award at the Iowa Tourism Conference, which means best website in the whole state, which is really exciting. So we work really hard to maintain that website. This year alone, we had 67,000 page views. We had 32,000 sessions and over 36,000 users. So we're always trying to get people back to the website, because on the website, we have our awesome community calendar. We have all of our attractions, our restaurants, and our lodging options. And something new that we launched this year on the website, since that's a huge asset for us, the website, we're always doing projects to develop the website and make it more user-friendly. This year, we just launched a recreational trail module. It's an interactive map that lets you see the whole county, go in and look at a trail, and then that page will provide you with all the information you need on a trail. So the type of surface of the trail, the length, how to access it, what kind of recreation can you do on the trail, all that great stuff. We just launched it last month, so we're still trying to pull in some trail information on the other side of the county. And then once the spring comes around and the weather changes, we'll be doing a lot of promotions to get people to check out this feature on the site, so.
Going on to the next slide, talking a little bit about the economic impact of travel. We've got the past couple of calendar years shown here, 2018 through 2021, and the 2021 numbers are the most recent that we have available. The Iowa Tourism Office subscribes through Tourism Economics to make a determination what kind of travel spending we have in the county. And you can see there that we saw quite a pronounced decrease in 2020 due to the pandemic. Not a surprise there, went down by 36.3%, but still visitors spent north of $200 million over the course of the year. And when you think about the fact that Potawatomi County is at the intersection of I-80 and I-29, and we have, of course, other ways for people to get here through Eppley Airport as well as Amtrak, it kind of makes sense that we have a pretty strong spending number. In fact, if you look at the 2021 number, where we saw a nice increase, a bounce back to just north of $300 million, you can see that the 44.3% increase was the 16th highest of Iowa's 99 counties, and the overall spending is the 5th highest of all of Iowa's 99 counties. Only behind Polk County, Lynn County, Johnson County, and Scott County in terms of overall economic impact. So you have an idea that it's pretty sizable here. And the fact that, we're at that intersection really makes all the difference in the world. And of course, being a part of a large metro doesn't hurt us at all either. Being able to cross promote, come to Potawatomi County when you are in Omaha, because we have other amenities that you're not going to be able to experience anywhere else. And just an example of how the pandemic impacted things, especially going from 2020 to 2021, is that, as Mark Shoemaker can attest, conservation user fees went up pretty significantly, and you probably have heard that before. And certainly because of the pandemic, visitors and just residents saw that parks is a great outlet for recreation and activity, and so they certainly took advantage of that, and makes perfect sense when you think about it. Excuse me. That's all we have as far as the county report. If you'll indulge me, I just have a few things I want to share with you from the CVB perspective, just a couple of minutes. This is our fiscal year 22 annual report. Kind of goes over some of the things that I've already touched on, but then some other things that I haven't had a chance to visit with you about. And some of the most noteworthy were the fact that in fiscal year 22, we updated our strategic plan. That was done so that we have a guiding document for our activities from 2022 through 2027. We are also very fortunate to be a recipient of 2 Iowa Tourism Awards, one for our website, unleashcb.com, as Outstanding Website of the Year, along with Outstanding Social Media Execution, and that's large part due to Emma's hard work. We also saw over the course of the year that hotel motel taxes bounced back in a big way. They went up 55% over the prior fiscal year, fiscal year 21, and hit an all-time high by growing by $1.13 million to almost $3.2 million in hotel motel tax collections. We also had a number of other things go on, but one of the more noteworthy ones that I'll conclude with is the fact that our office was designated as an official Iowa Welcome Center just about a year ago. That designation was held by the Western Historic Trail Center up until it closed in July of 2021. And rather have that service leave the county and leave the city, we petitioned the Iowa Tourism Office to have that designation transferred to our office. We're not getting any additional dollars for that, but we keep the signage, which still needs to go up. But we'll have that opportunity to get folks to stop, spend more time in Potawatomi County, and of course, spend a little bit more money as they're taking their time here. Maybe staying overnight, camping, or staying at a cabin, hotel, eating at a restaurant, those types of things. So I just wanted to share that information with you. And then we have one last token of appreciation. Something else that Emma has done and worked with Lance on is a photo contest where we've asked both residents and visitors to submit photos for a contest. And since we've held 4 of those, we've had sufficient number to be able to have a photo for each one of the months of the year. We're a little bit late getting these out, but we decided just to test this out as a way of using those submissions in a way that helps promote the county. You're gonna see kind of a 50-50 split of images from the rural part of the county and then the other half from Council Bluffs. So wanted to share that with you as another example of the collaboration that we do on a regular basis, and also, you know, what the Convention and Visitors Bureau is doing as well. We don't certainly limit the promotion we do for Council Bluffs to just Council Bluffs proper. In fact, I should also note that Mark Shoemaker is the president of the CVB Board of Directors and has been on the board for some time. And so we're mindful that we can pull people into Council Bluffs by promoting things throughout the entire county. And one of the things that's going on right now is that starting on December 1st, we launched our very first winter travel marketing initiative, in no small part due to the fact that the county acquired Mount Crescent. And now we have a singular wintertime attraction that will really draw people to the area. And while that's not the only thing that we promote, it's a big calling card. And we promote other things in addition to that, and already are seeing a lot of increased traffic to our website because of it.
Can you take questions?
Sure.
This area it has a rich history in vine and grape growing. Am I correct? How many vineyards do we have in the county? Do you have any idea? Two?
2, I believe now.
We've
Yeah,
lost
we've lost a
1,
few.
Yeah, we
2,
just lost
3.
Breezy Hills.
In Crescent,
Mhm.
yeah.
We've got Prairie Crossing and Trainer still.
Okay, I'm just saying that, you know, my wife was very interested at one time, not too many years ago. They were doing a bus tour of the wineries in southwest Iowa, and it was a several day adventure, but we couldn't make it because of the scheduling, but it sounded like a great, we talked to people that were on that, they had a great time, and they would visit wineries and then they'd find a place to stay overnight, for instance. So I didn't know if there's any little extra to promote wineries in Potawatomi County or not, but I'm.
Yeah, they're all listed on our website, and then we do have, Lance was talking about kind of our fun topical trails that we list in our trails, and we do have a wine through the hills trail, and so it does list the few remaining wineries that we do have.
Okay, I appreciate that, thank you.
So you said we're down to, what, 2?
Yeah, is it 2 or 1 now at this
Breezy
point?
Hills
I
closed-
think,
closed
yeah.
last fall.
Okay, so we got,
Prairie Crossing and Trainer's the only one I know definitively is still.
does Titmeyer's do wine? Then?
Yeah, they
Yes.
do define themselves as a vineyard, yep.
It's more like apple cider wine, apple wine, I think.
Well, 6.
Oh, that's right, okay.
The hotel motel tax increases, did we add any new hotels during the last year? Did we increase the beds? I mean, what is the bed count?
It's around 2,600. We haven't had a new hotel open since August of 2018, and that was the Courtyard by Marriott.
Okay, and is that countywide or is that just
I'm
Council
just
Bluffs?
talking about Council Bluffs proper.
Okay,
I'm not aware of any others throughout the county, but I might be mistaken.
yeah, I'm not aware of any either. I just didn't know if you counted what was out there, so.
And all that motel tax goes to the city, correct?
Yeah, each municipality can pass a referendum to collect it, and once it's passed, it just applies to their jurisdiction. I think it's conceivable that the county could pass such a thing if there were any hotels in a non-municipal designated area, yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe add it on top of it, I don't know.
Well, I think the only place to stay might be, the place on 92. What's the name of it?
With the grain bins,
Yeah,
Palace?
Hmm?
The Palace?
the Palace. I suppose, if we wanted to pass, but I don't know that there's a whole lot of beds in those 2 grain bins, but
We got all of our cabins that.
Of course, the
we have
cabins.
Motel tax on, so outside of towns.
yeah.
There sure are a lot of things to do throughout Pot County, especially in the little towns too, you know? A lot of people forget, you know, Macedonia's got those plays and a number of things out there, and each little town has something, so. Thanks, you guys. That was a nice report.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Any more comments, questions? Thanks for your time. Thanks for all you do. Okay, up next, Carrie Rose, Director, Eccles Memorial Library. Antonia Smith. I was real careful there. Council Bluffs Public Library, and Serena Weisgard, Director of Vocal Public Library. And do you direct one? Do you direct one? Yes. I know, but it isn't on here, and.
Maybe she'll
My
make
hand.
it, maybe she'll make
Oh,
an
yeah.
introduction.
Yes, from Walnut. Discussion of decision regarding countywide public library update and funding request revision.
I'll go first. I have my annual report for you all. I'm Antonia Kravitchka-Smith. I am the Council Bluffs Public Librarian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think I've had a chance to speak with most of you, but I wanted to just kind of give you an update that are specific to county. As you know, we do serve obviously Council Bluffs, but we serve a lot of the county as well. This past year, we made a concerted effort to get out into the county more. This allows us to be able to tell county residents what they can get with their public library card because they do have access, obviously. We basically doubled, if not in some areas of the county tripled, our outreaches, which is where we would go to farmers markets, we would go to town celebrations. I think in Crescent, we went to a pancake feed with Santa, and just talk to community members. And through that, we saw an increase of 200 library accounts in just county residents. So obviously, going out to the county, telling them that they can access what we have worked. Which is really great. And that also saw that we had an increase of over 8,000 checkouts on materials. So that's both materials, physical materials coming into our building, checking out our materials, as well as our digital materials. So that's our ebooks, that's our e-audio books. That's checking out anything that is through our Overdrive Libby accounts or Hoopla accounts. So obviously our residents, your residents, the county residents are using us. The thing to note, I think that's really important, is that we are above pre-pandemic levels now in our county usage, which is huge. You know, I think we try to measure ourselves against our people coming back and using the resources and services that they maybe still had access to before the pandemic, but just didn't know about. And the answer is yeah. People are coming in, they're using our resources, they're using them from home, using through Wi-Fi and everything like that. So that's kind of some big things going on. I also want to point out some major partnerships that we had this past year. We obviously partner a lot with Pot County Conservation, and we did that through our seed library launch. And so we now have a seed library where you can come in and you can check out seeds that are local to our stock and our community and good for our soil, our ecosystem. And they don't have to return the seeds. We're not going to take the seeds back away from you, but the goal is to make people aware of the native prairie, the native plants, and the conservation that goes along with that. And a lot of our county residents did utilize that, with the area around Crescent being our top third area in our region that actually came in, checked out seeds, and people were itching to get them already. Everybody wants to start their tomato plants. So that's kind of just another thing where we're working with county agencies to make sure that we're serving the population in the county. So just a couple things to just point out from our annual report. We did a lot of improvements within our facility. We've done a remodel of our youth area in our facility so that we can be up to date with providing those resources to our young families and those young kiddos in our community. And part of that is the launch of our Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Now, this isn't something that is available to county residents at this time, but we are tracking those numbers because we can track the numbers. If there's a county resident who would like to have Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, we can see that because they've gone on to Dolly Parton and said, I want to be part of it. And then they say, well, we need to find a funder for that. So we are keeping track of that to see if this is something that we want to launch within the entire county. But just in Council Bluffs, which is that 51503 and 51501 zip code, we did get 17,000 books into the hands of little kids last year, which is a huge number of books. So we're really happy about that particular partnership that we've been able to have with our foundation. The Council Bluffs Public Library Foundation is who funds that. Like I mentioned, we did expand our collections. One of the things that's super popular with our residents, both in Council Bluffs and in the county, is our Discovery Passes. So our Discovery Passes the goal of them is to help patrons and community residents to find things to do outside of maybe what's in their community or is in their community. So a couple examples of those are when we have the Henry Doily Zoo passes, county residents can come in and get free passes to Henry Doily Zoo. We also have partnered with Pot County Conservation to get people out to Hitchcock and get people out to Arrowhead so they can try out those parks and see if this is a place for them to see themselves. We also have partnerships with, say, right now you can go to the library and get Rose Theater passes. So if you want to try out the Rose Theater, you can try that out for free. So those are very popular. We also expanded into providing things like sewing machines. You can come in and check out a sewing machine and go home with that and try out that if you don't have a sewing machine already, as well as board games. Those are very, very popular. People want to play board games, which is a great way for them to try those out. Lastly, we did start our big reading initiative, which is our One Community Reads initiative. This is the goal of the One Community Reads is for everyone to read the same title, or depending on age, there's a youth title, there's a young adult title, there's an adult title. And think about the concept around that title and how they can make a difference in their region and community. Last year's title was about monarch butterflies. So it was the whole concept behind the migration of monarch butterflies and what can we do in our community to support that unique migration. This focus this year is going to be on community gardening and how you can garden in your own way. And so that is going to obviously support our seed library and everything that's going on with that. But the title associated with that particular topic will be announced later in February. So that's some of the little things that are happening at the Council Bluffs Public Library. You guys have any questions for me about what we're doing?
I have a question.
Yes.
Seems like these all community read books are more how-to books, getting people engaged in other activities. Mm-hmm. Have you ever done a novel? Years ago, we did have a all county read. We read Peace Like a River.
Okay.
But that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And then apparently you've got it kicked off again. Do you will you do any novels?
We will, yes. Yeah, we will do novels. This year's read is a novel. It's more local though. It's based upon Native American seed gatherers. Next year we're looking at water. So if you have any kind of theme you want that's based on water.
The River Why.
we'll think about it. We like to bring in the author into the community as well, and so it also kind of depends on author availability. But yeah, the whole idea is to try to think about what's happening in our region, and so we do want to make it as accessible as possible. So yeah, novels are a little bit more accessible. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, the other librarians are going to talk to you too. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Carrie Rose, and I'm from Eccles Library in Oakland, Iowa. This is my first time presenting. I've only been with Eccles Library for the last 2 years, and this is new, and I'd like to continue to come each year to give you a little bit of update about our library. Since I took over, I have totally revamped the whole entire system. We are now digital. We offer Libby, which is the e-readers, the audiobooks. Kids programming is probably my #1 resource. I came from Riverside School District as elementary librarian up there, and my biggest partnership was to get the kids more involved with the local public library, and I believe I've done that quite well. Why I'm here is because we're asking for a funding request. As the last 7 years we've looked at, our funding can keep going down. We use, how you guys calculate the funding request is through how many checkouts our rural patrons use. That's kind of outdated. We do have a ton of checkouts. However, we, as our little libraries offer so much more than just book checkouts. I, for one, has put in a STEM room at the library to where it's all full of STEM activities for the kids to come in and do. And we have a ton of kids coming in after story hour to go and play in that room. So they may be there for story hour, they may stay for 2 hours, play in that STEM room, but we're only getting, credit for maybe the 2 books that they check out to take home. Even though that they were there for 2 hours, doing all of our activities, all of our stuff. We have a maker space available so they can make and take things too. But we're only getting, maybe that 2-book checkout credit, and it's not really helping us in the long run. So we're looking for ways that we can count more of our activities that we do for our rural patrons. I'll go through some of the stuff that I personally offer, and computer usage, applying for jobs. Over the pandemic, we had so many people coming in for our computers to apply for jobs, to help navigate. Now, some of the patrons that come in don't necessarily know how to use a computer, so we're using our time showing them how to use the computer and guiding them along some processes that they need to know. Attending Zoom meetings was really big that we offered. We have computers and laptops with the camera. A lot of people don't have that at home still to this day, and we provide that so that they can come in and do their Zoom meetings. Making resumes, studying, gaming, classes, finishing assignments on computers. One thing I do is I have two families that live in the rural. They each have kids that go to Riverside High School. Some are older, some are younger. They have 1 car in the family. So when their sports are in session, the younger one might come to the library, hang out, while the older kids are doing the sports, and vice versa, so that they're not going home, wasting the gas. We have 2 families that utilize the library right now for that reason too. But they may not always check out books, but they're using our Wi-Fi, they're using our computers. They might be reading books in the library. We offer a whole bunch, and they can sit there and read the book. We have recliners, so they tend to go back to the room and grab a book, read a book, put it back, and use our recliners. We also have the STEM room, and I also do classroom visits, and the classrooms come to our library each year through Riverside. So I go to the school 3 times a year, the elementary school, and I put on a program up there 3 times a year for them, which would be including the rural kids. I read books, we do activities, I have STEM bots that I take up there, and they get to learn with the STEM bots too. But we're not getting credit for that. We're working really hard. Community gathering spaces. What has really taken off since I started, and even the last 6 months, is the younger people with their younger families have come into the library, like especially on a Saturday with their kids. They get to play, they get to do some activities, we read books, and they're all just using the space for the 2 hours that we're open. As the parents talk, kids play, I'm interacting with them, my assistant's interacting with them. They may not check out any books, but they were there for 2 hours too. Copier services. We have a genealogy room. We don't necessarily have a meeting room, but we do have a lot of people, therapists or DHS workers who will come and make meetings in our back room with their scheduled visits with their clients. I also have a movie license now, which was a great thing to do. I'm so excited for the summer to be able to do book versus movie. You have no idea how engaging it can be for kids to take a book, read it, and then watch a movie and then have a conversation about the differences. And sometimes they get very upset because the book is nothing like the movie. And we also have workspace and free Wi-Fi. And story time and programs too have been wonderful. We will never be able to compete with the checkouts that Council Bluffs do, but we are working just as hard as they are. And when you look at the funding differences from 2016, I believe Eccles received $28,000, and this last year I believe it's $15,000 that we received, just because our checkouts have been down so much. And we're just requesting that we need to come up with a different plan on how we distribute this funding, because we are here and we're working really, really hard. To provide resources to all of our patrons, including county residents. Do you have any questions?
I do. Do you do a per capita on Council Bluffs Library? The reason I ask is because Crescent, I was up there for a lot of years, and it seemed like we went per capita on that. Did we not?
We serve Crescent and Council Bluffs. We've got 5 contract communities, so we serve
Right.
about 75% of the county through our contract communities in that whole area as well.
I don't recall a
So we-
checkout deal.
We don't, yeah, so it's a different equation, with the city, and it is per capita and then the levy, so, yeah. But yeah, it's a different equation in that there is no flat rate. So with your equation, like there's that base that we all get no matter what, and then it's our checkouts. That is not how it works with the contract communities. Right.
Remember, that was always,
Yeah.
it was always going up, slowly but surely, it always went up. How, what other funding do you get?
Oh, we receive, city funding too,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
and we do
That
have a
was my
library
question.
levy.
You get funding from Carson and.
Yep, Carson Estonia, we get, we get a percentage from their, assessed valuation too. Because we have contract with Carson and Estonia, yes.
I've never been to your facility, but I certainly.
Well,
am
I would
going
invite you to come.
I'm going to be there. But do you have separate areas, for instance, you mentioned computers and computer viewing?
Yes, we have a computer lab,
Okay.
and then we have a nonfiction room, and that's kind of, the computer lab is, we can't close it off because it's an open area, but it's in the back of our area, it's the back of our space next to the genealogy room, so where the meetings, that's kind of what we'll guide people back there to use that room. We have a nonfiction room, we have a STEM room, and then we have our big library, which is our kids' books and adult books.
Yeah, I'll give you a call. Do you have a card?
I do not have it with me.
I'll call.
Okay,
You can find her.
you can find me, yeah.
What
Yeah.
is the rate associated with the checkout?
I don't recall that.
I don't know.
I don't, I get a spreadsheet, and I put the numbers in and the equation is already set in there.
You ladies also get that type of funding, the checkout funding?
It's a county contract with all the libraries. We each get a base amount, and then depending on the number of checkouts we have for the year, it's based on that.
I have the contract if you
Okay.
are needing to look at it.
It would certainly, to me, it would certainly seem that there's more feasible ways to gauge the success of a library
Mhm.
these days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything else going on,
Yes.
digital, access. to
And this year we were able to
Wi-Fi.
count our digital checkouts too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we,
Is that included in the,
this is included this year. On our past years, we did not.
okay.
It's kind of a process. It's cut and paste a 16-digit number into our system, so it takes a little bit of
Does that
time.
help a lot?
It did, 1,500 checkouts, so yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, good.
So the hours that you guys operate are
We're open 38 hours a week.
38, okay?
Yep, and we have to go through, we have standards we have to uphold for our class libraries. I'm open 9 to 5, or I'm sorry, 10 to 5, and then 10 to 6 on Wednesdays, and then 10 to 12 on Saturdays. But I know that you both have different hours than I do, so.
Okay.
Yeah, there's also state funding associated with the size of your class, your library, and your accreditation.
And ours
And
is,
each of you receive that?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not very much money.
yeah, mine's $1,500, so, yeah.
Another point that you could consider is building usage, because everything that you're talking about is people coming through the doors.
Mhm.
So that's another easy statistic that could be added into the equation of not only our checkouts, so people who are using our resources, taking them home with them, or using them off-site, or the people who are just coming in and using resources on-site. So that would account for any kind of usage of computers, coming to programs, any of that, all of our resources that are on-site. So that would be an easy way to capture if you are looking at the formula to say what's an easy additional number to not have to bring in a whole bunch of other numbers that might not be similar.
Mhm.
Those are numbers that we already have to report to the state, our checkouts and our building usage. So that's another easy way of rolling it in. I don't know where that would go in the equation, but
Yeah.
it is an easy number to capture computer usage, Wi-Fi usage, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I just don't ever remember this formula
No, I
being discussed
recall
before.
that.
Was this formula created by the supervisors years ago, or I thought it was created by your coalition?
Long ago contract.
Yeah,
Huh?
it was long ago. It was probably established from some state standards, but, because there is a state requirement for how much funding comes from counties, and that was probably devised from that. But yeah,
What
it's a
is
long,
that percentage, do you know?
I do not know off the top of my head. It is similar to the per capita and contract community kind of thing.
You guys basically give 17.5 cents off the rural levy
Right.
divided between the 5 and 1 based on the number of checkouts plus the base rate. So it's roughly 300, this year's gonna be about 356,000 between the 5 of them.
Have you reached out to the other counties within the state to find out kind of what best practices would be? Or do you have a librarians association where you can?
No, so this is new within the last month, is that when Serena and I were talking, I'm like, okay, well, we need to go to the meeting, it's coming up, let's do this. It's also accreditation year for Serena and I, so we have been swamped, busy with trying to get accreditation. So we've been trying to jungle everything, but no, that's something that we need to do, is reach out to other counties and see what they do and vice versa.
Yeah, do you have your budget put together?
We did, I presented that last night to my city.
Okay, and is that January to December, or is it July?
No, it is June to July.
July to June.
Sorry, July to June, sorry.
Yeah, I always get that messed up too.
I don't believe the levy has been lowered since I've been on the board.
No, it's just been.
So there's no reason why there should have been less funding.
No, because it goes by our checkouts. So we take our checkouts throughout the year to the county. We give it to Council Bluffs, and then she,
I put it in a spreadsheet
Yep.
and I send it to them.
yeah.
Oh, so she's keeping some of your money.
Well, it's divided up, it's divided up.
There's a paper trail.
So yeah, it's just, what we're doing is we're asking for a kind of revision, because we'll never, Council Bluffs is amazing. And as much as we would love to have an amazing library like that, but we'll never be able to do that, but we are asking.
I've been involved with other organizations, and we use the CB library a lot. Republican Party, we have meetings there. It's a great resource. I mean, just to narrow the success down just to checkouts, to me, is like a sixties thing.
Yes.
That's the way I look at it. There's a lot of ways to make libraries successful,
Yes.
and it's not just checkouts.
No.
I certainly agree with you on that.
Thank you.
Sounds like an antiquated formula,
It is.
because a lot of people go over here just for the computers.
Yeah.
And libraries are inflation-proof.
Yes.
I mean, as the inflation rates go up, popularity is gonna go up.
Yeah.
And if you have Wi-Fi, get yourself a coffee shop.
Yeah, well, we're working on that. I'd like to offer some free coffee, but I also don't want to take from destination too.
Oh, yeah,
So-
they'll buy the coffee.
Oh, yeah.
For free
And
Wi-Fi.
actually,
For free Wi-Fi.
for programming, we could go to destination, and they have offered up their coffee for us to use too, so.
I've been at the Avoca Library for 15 years. And even before I came, our computers were a big use. The kids came every day after school and spent hours after school till we closed using the computers. But since our schools now, everybody has a laptop, so that has changed somewhat. But what I see in the Avoca community is our aging community. We definitely do our story time outreach. We go out to daycares, we take them bags of books, we read to the kids. We take them STEM activities to do. We leave them there at the daycares. We do all that. But what I see in Avoca is that we have a very aging population, that they look for local resources. So their first place they come, we don't have a community center, we don't have a senior center, they come to the library and they say, how do I get on food stamps? How do I get energy assistance? How can I, where do I go for this kind of stuff? So we're finding that more and more of not only our technology resources, but also just the social services that the county provides. They come to the library as a first start in Avoca to say, I don't have a car, I don't drive to Council Bluffs, who can I talk to? So we've been doing a lot of outreach for a lot of our seniors and people living on fixed incomes. During COVID, some of the county resource people that came to the courthouse in Avoca quit coming during COVID, totally understandable. So I put in a call, and thank you very much, but we've got the VA coming back out now on a regular schedule. We've got, the passport, the county taxes. Those people are back at the courthouse now, which helps a lot, but we still have, and the League of Human Dignity started coming to the library once a month so that when somebody came for help, I could say, there's a great gal that's coming from League of Human Dignity, let me put you down the day she's coming, you'll have an appointment with her. She was a great help. That lady's gone to another job, so they're hoping to get somebody else. But we're like the first place in our community for those people that move to town. Where do I do this? How do I find this? In Avoca, we have, 5 communities that come for school there now, so our county outreach is, the demographic of that is bigger because of all the people who come to Avoca to attend school. So we've seen an increase with that. And it's not necessarily book checkouts, but we're open 41 hours a week. We're there on Saturdays and Wednesday nights. There's a big farmer's market in the front of the library, and we have people come from all over, and they come into the library. We're open till 8 p.m. that night. And so we're very visible in the community that way. And so I see more, we do all this community service with helping people, get on I had a guy yesterday, they told me to go online and get my driver's license. I don't use a computer. I need to come in and fill out a job application on the computer. I don't know how to use a computer. So a lot of my staff time is spent one-on-one with people, helping them get the needs met. And that doesn't account for anything of our current contract.
No, I mean, that's libraries.
Yeah, that's libraries.
Every library does those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Quick question, the Council Bluffs Library, does Google have any support for the Council Bluffs Library? I mean, they support a lot of libraries in the area, but maybe not necessarily city libraries.
No, they, initially in 2016, when we put our makerspace in, there was a Google grant associated with the makerspace, which was, I believe, $15,000 to help with technology in the makerspace, but that was a one-time gift. So no, we don't get any support from Google.
I think
Blink is, we're covered in Blink. So, I mean, we're part of the coverage map of Blink, but we do also have additional supplemental Wi-Fi within the library.
Because I think Google has basically taken over Iowa West Library.
They have, it is a digital library, yep.
Okay, digital library, okay. Have you ever approached Google about doing anything? Okay.
As a city entity, the city does a lot with Google. So as funding comes from cities, that's where we don't compete with our own entities.
I wouldn't be afraid, I will.
I reached out to Google when I first started because our technology was
Right.
nothing. And when I applied for their grant, they came back and told me that I did not qualify, which I thought was silly, but I just kept trying.
Another visit from somebody.
I probably need another visit, yeah.
All right, thank you.
So the formula that we're talking about is a state formula.
It's likely coming from the state. It's according to the state law that says that you must provide library services to your county residents. And then this is an equalizing formula, but I do believe it is outdated in that we are community centers. So many people come in to use our resources that aren't just our material, it's our time, it's our electronics and our digitals, it's our staffing time. It's our meeting rooms, it's our meeting spaces, it's that kind of stuff, absolutely. But yeah, it's.
The landscape's changed and what you produce or offer now has changed also, when the demographics that you're serving has definitely changed. You're gonna continue to change, Yeah.
Is there a way to track visitors rather than books that leave? To just track the people that come in?
I have a daily count, and actually do it by hour of how many people come in through our doors and what they're there for.
Yeah, according to my report that I've given you guys, we had 147,122 visitors last year.
How many books left?
How many books were checked out? Total from, including county and everything else, we had 252,706. And those were materials that checked out versus our downloaded books, which were 90,439. That's
Is that counted as a checkout?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have that statistic off the top of my
Okay,
head.
that's fine.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Well, thank you for coming today and,
Yeah.
giving us some
Do
additional.
you ladies want to present anything?
Do you have any questions? Anything else that?
Just, I wonder if have you contacted our state reps?
This is the first I'm hearing of them wanting to increase, so that wasn't
no,
included in the
it's news
conversation,
to
but
us,
that
too.
is very easy. We all have the same state rep, and we can all contact that individual and get an idea of if the formula has changed for any other counties or if they have a recommendation of how to roll in visits.
Question, what's the historic value of some of these facilities out in the county? I mean, are there any Carnegie libraries in the county or anything along those lines?
No.
We're an old storefront.
No, we're 1970s, all one level, all open concept. Very, what people still consider a modern building.
And ours is 1998 built, but the Carnegie is still here in town as the UP Museum.
Carter Lake's got a new
They do.
facility.
They've just renovated their facility, yes.
And she couldn't be here for staffing issues, so.
Ours is an old building.
Yeah, ours is 1930s. It used to be the city hall, I believe.
Ours is way old.
Well, gives you a lot to ponder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, we need to get a hold of our reps and see if we can change that.
So that's in state code, you think?
I can't hear you, Mike.
You think that's in state code, this?
Well, that's what
There
Scott,
is in state code the percentage that is required.
Right, it's just a percentage.
It's just a percentage that is required, and you are covering that, but what we're suggesting, or what is being suggested, is that it's not a good reflection.
Not
How we're splitting it up isn't a good reflection.
What you're serving is, that formula is outdated. It's
I
not
wish I
accurate.
had the county number today, I don't, I didn't think to look that up, but I'll explain it in this way. Our city is 0.0675 per 1,000 of property value is the state code. There's no library that can survive on that, no way. So then they gave us the permission to pass by the voters a 27-cent per 1,000 increase, which we all have.
You'll have, yeah.
We all have that. And the state doesn't really allow us to do more than that way. But all of our cities pay way more than that because they know we can't, there's no way we can operational do, on that money. So every city, of course, increases that. And I don't know how the current county funding is based, from the number that the state says you have. But of course, the city, there's no way we could survive on that 0.0675, even with the 0.27 increase. There's no way.
is Council Bluffs numbers the same?
As far as what funding we're getting,
Levy and,
we do not have a levy. We just get funding from the city.
I remember in Crescent, you bumped that up a number of years
Yes.
ago and
But we're not even at the top of what we could be requesting from our contract communities. We kind of shoot it down the middle.
okay.
Yeah.
I remember we had a little controversy over that. We weren't
Yes.
sure what was going on, and this is the first time I know more about it than they ever have.
And just to give it a little perspective for Crescent, the amount that we charge them is just over $2,000 a year.
Avoca contracts with the city of Shelby, the city of Neola, and the city of Hancock.
Okay.
So, because they go to our school, and so we contract with the city for their library services. So we do get a couple of $1,000s from each of those things.
Isn't Tenet in there too?
No, we don't contract with
different
Terrence.
Yeah, I know, but it's,
Yeah, and
there's
that'd be
no more
Shelby- that'd
city
be
there,
Shelby
is there?
County, I think. That'd be Shelby County.
Never been there. Maybe I was and didn't know it was a town, I don't know.
But it's in the school name, that's
It's
why I
in the
asked.
school name, because at that time, I think there was 4 students that came from Tenet.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know if there is any more students from
Okay.
Tenet.
Well, what's the board think here?
Well, our budget's coming up in the next week or so, and if the funding is determined by a state formula, we can't change that. Its formula got changed where more fund went down towards the rural side, Council Bluffs loses too. Cause those funds go there. We levy, what was it, Mitch, 17.5 cents? About $350,000 a year that goes to those libraries. And then it's divvied up by a formula. We can't change the formula. So,
Yeah, I think you could change the formula. That's not a state code.
who set the formula? Did this
It was a
board?
contract set by the county supervisors many years ago.
Oh, I was under the impression it was a state code.
The percentage that you must
amount.
pay, yeah,
Yes.
that you must pay for the service is set by a state code. The amount is something
I
that,
think it's levy rate
yeah.
is an 11 cents the
It's 6
base.
and 3/4 cents per $1,000 of assessed value.
That's the,
3/4.
6 and 3/4 cents per $1,000.
oh, I thought you said that was a city. funding.
That is what
But
it is
that-
for the city.
That's
but I
for the
don't know if
city.
it's the same for
I
the
think
county.
this is what it says county. This is
That's
is
the
from you
contract.
guys.
What's the date
From
on that?
2016. 2016 is the date.
2016.
The same
I
question.
believe the reasoning for the checkouts is because we can delineate who's using by checkouts. If we were to give you the visitor's number, the number I gave you, that includes city residents, because it's their city
Yeah, we would
library.
have to
So we
separate
would,
from,
yeah, we would have to literally point people through two different doors if we wanted to just give you county visits. And that's why it has always gotten very complex, but if the county is only going to pay for its county residents, really the only way for us to give you a county resident usage number is that checkout, unfortunately.
Okay.
So if that,
Okay.
with
Yeah,
Council Bluffs,
we
that'd
should
be
probably
hard to
study
do,
this,
but
huh?
with us,
Oh, yeah, we
with,
can't do anything.
you
I
know,
would
like yesterday had
to
16
find
patrons
that,
and 2 of them were
agreement.
county. I can tell you that off the top of my head
and
because it's a lower
understand
count.
it. I mean, I've never
Good.
seen it.
And freshen it up.
Okay, so we went to 17, but the base was.
Yeah, and you give
the
way
base
more
according
than
to
what the
code.
base is, yeah.
Right, no, I thought the base was 11, maybe,
Yeah.
it's just, years ago, we gave
We
11
can discuss
cents.
it at our next,
We need to do a little budget studying.
Yep.
So I'd like to put off today any decision. The discussion's been great, because I don't think any of us knew where we were at or anything.
Yeah, and reach out if you have any
Eye-opening,
questions.
I'll say that.
And please stop into our libraries. They're
Yeah.
definitely ever changing. You can keep that. I have more copies of that.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time,
Yeah,
ladies.
Thank you.
And I appreciate all your outreach efforts, because I've seen you all out in the public drumming up business, and that's so important.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
we'll move to the next one. Mark Shoemaker, Director of Conservation, and Jana Lemrick, Director of Human Resources. Discussion and/or decision regarding pay for seasonal park aid and ranger positions.
Now, this is,
Get in the hot seat, Mark. God. Want to sit in the back?
you can see me. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. Now, this seasonal park aid is our main kind of park position that usually works from the middle of April to the middle of October, kind of depending on the schedule in the park. It's currently at $11 to $14 an hour. We want to bump that up to $15 to $17 an hour. We lost a couple kind of in the middle of the season last year, and we never rehired because we didn't have an interest in that position. We think this increase would help that, and it is within our budget, so,
We had a hard time recruiting last year.
yeah.
We did not get very many applicants at all. You may have even had one position that wasn't even filled.
Yeah, I think it was filled initially, and then that person left, and then it was never filled.
And we haven't changed the pay on this since prior to 2018.
You're recommending?
Yes.
What was the pay increase, 15 to
17.
17? Okay.
I think that will help a lot.
How many of those are there then?
How many senior aides or senior park aides are there?
Seasonal park aides?
Seasonal
and
park
rangers?
aides, there's about 6 to 8, depending on what the park needs.
Okay, thank you.
And those are primarily at, I think they share one at Hitchcock Narrows. We have a couple at Botna Bend and a couple at Arrowhead.
Do you have age requirements?
Not for that.
I mean, they do
Position.
use like
If they have to use power equipment, then they do. But we kind of work with them and kind of identify what the needs are in the parks, so. Typically anywhere from 18 to, we've had senior park aides. Clifford Fisher out at Bottom Bend was our most senior park aide in the past, so. All the way up to 80.
Wow. Good. What's the board think? Questions?
I'd like the opportunity to go back and look at his budget, and I don't have it in front of me, so. Mark, if I remember right, did your budget go up, what, 30,000?
Yeah.
And this is within this year's budgets or next year's budget?
Well, it's within both. I mean, I think if we make the change, we're getting ready to post jobs right now. So we would make some changes yet this year and then also next year, yeah.
Wish I had.
Anything? Questions? Motions?
Well, I can understand, you know, if you can't hire anybody at that specific salary base, you're gonna have to do something. So, you know, I can see your need at the same time, you know.
The, that's the common response we get from some departments, you know, it's in their budget, so. I'd like to go back and take a look. I mean, we have to, as Supervisor Jurgensen said, I mean, we're talking minimal amount of money and, you know, it's hard to find somebody to take that low of a wage and try to do anything, so.
They're an important player in
How many
the
people we talking
park
about?
system.
6 to 8.
6 to 8.
If
That
they
could
get
affect.
I'll make a motion to approve that 15 to 17 for the seasonal park aid and ranger positions.
It wasn't for Ranger Scott, just the park aides.
Okay, well, it's got,
Yeah, I know.
okay.
Yeah, we had put rangers on there to get it on the agenda. We weren't exactly sure.
Yeah, I think we talked about the ranger intern positions. They primarily work from when they get out, they're primarily college kids. A lot of places don't pay internships. They're primarily working from maybe the middle of May to the middle of August because they go back to school. Plus, we're giving them that opportunity to actually get college credit and work with us. So we weren't gonna change their pay rate.
So then the motion would be for seasonal park aid?
Yep.
Okay.
Got a motion and a second on the floor?
Yep.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next deal is your committee appointments. Just kind of give us a brief little update of what you went to and what you did.
Well, I attended my first committee meeting today with the Tourism Committee. Very, very, very interesting. I think those of you who know me and know what my passion is, and that's to make Potawatomi County and Council Bluffs a tourist destination, the premier tourist destination in Iowa. So I'm in with the right committee and see what can be, see what we can do. So looking forward to further work.
Good. Susan, did you go to some?
I spent 2 days in Des Moines at the ISAC training, which was very eye-opening. It was a great experience to hear what other counties are going through and to work with peers that are in similar positions. And we all carried a similar concern over being a newly elected supervisor and being thrown right into the budget session. So I'm making my way through that, so.
I also went to Des Moines with Susan and Jeff. And then last weekend, they had the Uller Bash for a fundraiser for the bike trail. That was a very successful deal. The bicyclists have a lot of fun. Let's just put it that way. there was a lot of money spent and donated, so it was very good. They'll have the numbers tonight, at the meeting tonight, so. Scott, did you go to some?
Well, this workforce development is one of the affiliates I'm associated with, and it's involves 18 counties, and we've not ever had all 18 counties show up for the meeting. They're proposing to dissolve the 2080 agreement and allow the state to run it. There's not enough funds. It's roughly a little over $1 million to run it, and it's just not enough funds to do it. And so we'll see what happens at the next meeting on that.
I think they're gonna dissolve it though.
I think so. I mean, there's, like I said, we can't ever get 18 counties. It's all the way from Plymouth County down to Page and Fremont County.
Is there just no interest,
Well,
or?
there's no money. You gotta have you know, an administrator, because it's federal funds coming through the state. Like I said, it's roughly $1 million, and they're figuring it takes about 300,000 in administration. So that only leaves about 600,000, and you gotta pay rent for the one-stop shops, which would be basically Council Bluffs, I believe Denison, and then Sioux City. And the numbers just don't work out. They want to try to dump it, I shouldn't say dump it, but they want to try to give it to a county auditor, and they're elected officials, and they don't have to, we can't make them do it. And it'd be for a lot of county auditors, it would be a tough thing to do. They don't have the extra staff to do it and such, so. It's been the state, I mean, I went to meetings all over the state for the last, I don't want to say 10 years. It was a lot cleaner when we just worked out at Iowa Western, and there was only, I want to say 7 counties that we had to work with. And we all got together and, you know, knew what was going on, and then the state come in and said we were doing it wrong, and now they've saying we're doing it wrong again, and it's just kind of a mess, to be honest with you. So stay tuned. And then I went to my first Iowa Racing Association meeting, I believe it's called.
Iowa West Racing Association.
Iowa West Racing Association meeting. And I hadn't been sworn in or approved, so I got approved yesterday for that. And so then I'll have, we start receiving the agendas and those types of things. So I'll have more to report on that in the future. They only meet like 3 times a year, so.
Scott, do they do a background check?
No.
Okay, then that's the other board, right? That you were on?
No.
I thought they.
I don't know.
Tim?
They can do all the background checking they want, I guess.
You're an ex officio member, you don't get a vote, so I got an email from Brenda said that you wouldn't have to go through the background check.
No, I know.
So, I mean, we all thought that you would.
But the other ones on the board have to, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
I went to the West Potawatomi Soil Conservation meeting. They elected the same officers they had last year, and they had one call on request for information on the on your beaver bounty. And
oh yeah.
Bernie, I'd hate to put you on the spot, but has East Pot received any requests for information on their?
I really can't tell you that because I haven't been in my office the last couple of days. I made it up to Des Moines last week, a couple of days, and on the hill, and so I've been back in and been taking care of my wife more or less is what I'm doing.
Yeah. Then there was an East Potawatomi Soil Conservation meeting that happened to be scheduled during the supposed blizzard snowstorm.
Yeah,
So I kind of backed out of that one. That was an 8 o'clock meeting. And had I known what the weather was going to be, or ended up being, I would have went to that meeting. Susan, did you make that one?
No, I was in Des Moines that day.
we had the chance up to 72 inches of snow, they said.
10 to 14. Boy, what a difference. Okay, rock it on.
Well, that's good. I received a couple love letters on the beaver bounty at my home.
Good for you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, they didn't see the damage. Okay. That's good. Thank you. Got public comments section. Anybody sign up?
We have a couple signed up, that's here from last week. On the bottom, Jerry Frederickson.
Yeah, cross off.
Maybe you're writing, but you'll have to introduce